we present a Journal of the Plague Year, being observations or memorials of the most remarkable occurrences, as well public as private, which happened in London during the last great visitation in 1665. Written by a citizen who continued all the while in London, never made public before.
Start here. Start anywhere. Paint the picture. An old man sits with his legs wrapped around a deal table in a room that juts out over the River Thames. 1722. September. There. Windows on 6 sides. A diamond light coming off the water, seeming to set him on fire. A long-chinned fellow, more warts than a frog. His clothes carry signs of previous attempts at dash, but now all in ruins. And those legs wrapped around a table as though hanging on like a spider or an aging clerk, his quill gripped in one of his claws. As he scribbles, ink on the floor in dark puddles, paper in piles, edges curled with damp. The whole thing a catastrophe. Imagine. Anyway, to sum up, who is he, this cretinous 60-year-old, and why is he staring at the stinking water of the stinking Thames? What do you think he's up to? I'll put you out of your misery. He's Daniel Defoe, and he's writing a book. It's called A Journal of the Plague Year. As a title, is it snappy enough, you think? Will it fly off the shelves like shit from a shovel? A book about the London Plague? Oh, I say, give me 5. No, make that 10. Here's what it is. A fake journal. I put myself in it, your roving reporter. And for my alias in this imagined world, I take the initials of my uncle, the old bastard, Henry Foe. And there I am, as it were, fresh born, at your service, H.F. Like a time traveller, I walk about the streets of London, beginning in the winter of 1664, nosing out the truth, or something that'll sound very much like it, fearlessly inventing where facts fall short, and all on your behalf. And thus, for your entertainment, I open the gates of hell.
20th of December to the 27th of December.
The parish clerk of St. Bride's reads the death bills.
None.
So far, so good.
27th of December to the 3rd of January, 6 dead. 3rd of January to the 10th of January, 11 dead.
But something is about to break free and become
to
apparent.
The 17th of January, 11 dead.
Like a rat crawling onto land off a ship.
17th of January to the 24th of January, 9 dead.
Its wet belly slithering on the dock as it makes its way towards the city.
31st of January to the 28th of February, 15 dead.
Because at first they don't admit what is actually killing people.
Dropsy, 6. Fever, 5. A swelling sickness, 3.
Enough of the statistics. Who believes them? I go out, and this is the point, onto the streets. Your reporter, determined to find out. I breathe the air. My nose leads me to a churchyard.
I am the resurrection and the life.
A funeral in progress. I take a closer look.
He that believeth in me, though he were dead...
The warden
yet shall
sees
he
me,
live.
wanders over.
Whosoever liveth and
You have
believeth
business
in
here,
me
do you?
shall never die.
Where's that now? The churchyard, fellow.
Oh, just passing?
Well, just pass off then. Interrupting a family's grief, are we?
Heaven forfend.
Then piss off a way out of it.
One question. What did the person die of?
There's the gate. Use it.
Well, naturally, one's suspicions are aroused.
St. Martin in the Fields.
St. Clement Danes.
St. Sepulchre.
St. Giles in the Fields.
St. Mary Lestrange.
St. Paul's.
Let us go deeper.
You still here?
A different churchyard. St. Clement Danes in the Strand. I approach a man visible only from the waist up. He's standing in a hole.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Do you have a moment?
Why would I have a moment?
I was just passing...
A graveyard.
what, through?
Most people will go round.
There, but I'm curious.
About the dead,
No, perhaps not. Not in a general way.
in particular.
Well, yes, the grave you're so earnestly digging now.
A Frenchman.
Is it?
Died in Drury Lane.
Of what cause?
Now you're asking.
Well, I assume he died of something.
I would not argue with you there.
So what?
They told me scrofula.
Common enough.
I was there before they nailed the coffin, saw the body.
And?
Neck swollen up to here both sides, though he'd swallowed 2 oranges whole. And the skin on his face.
Tell me.
Black with gangrene. If that's scrofula, I'm the King of England. And I'm not the King of England.
So what do you say killed this Frenchman?
Why, that would be the plague.
But they lied to you.
Why do men lie, sir? Because we prefer good news to bad. And now, I must finish my hole.
And all of this took place 60 years ago. But in my hands, it's happening now. The spring of 1665 wears on. The numbers grow and swell like the necks of the victims.
Lambeth.
Cripplegate?
Shoreditch.
You can't keep that many deaths a secret, not for long. The cool breezes. Nathaniel! Wafted by the cool spring. Nathaniel, damn you! What do you think I'm doing?
You're working.
Exactly, and what are you doing?
I'm attending to a few jobs.
Does that include answering the door?
I spoke to them.
And what did you say?
I said you weren't at home.
They believed you?
Yes.
So what is that?
They came back.
Why would they come back if they believed you? What have I told you about lying?
You've got to believe it.
And when you told them I wasn't at home, did you believe it?
But you are at home.
No. No, I'm not.
I see.
Go back. Tell them the truth. And get me some tea.
The parishes of St Bride's and St James, Clerkenwell. 27th of May to the 3rd of June, 249 buried, an increase of 58. 3rd of June to the 10th of June, 394 buried, an increase of 45.
Enough. My uncle, the old bastard Henry Foe, to whose name I later added the de in order to lend myself a slice of Gallic interest, as one might add garlic to a plain dish, this man, anyway, had a shop where... ladies' millinery, where, as H.F., I now go.
Henry.
This is, in imagination, my brother, James.
Have you decided what you're going to do?
Come in.
Well, have you or not?
I haven't, no.
Why? Why not?
Wait.
Have you looked outside? Have you cast a glance? Everybody's leaving.
Well, you're leaving.
Well, because I've got a family to look after. Is there something wrong in that?
No.
Do you judge me?
God, no, you're very touchy.
Then come with me.
We talked about this, haven't we?
Because of your business. Is that it? You can't leave your business. Don't you trust God to look after it? Oh, come with me. I don't want to leave you here. Henry.
Find me a horse.
But there were no horses. Does that seem credible? Anyway, I couldn't go. I stayed and began to write this journal for you, my dear reader, out of a sense of duty. Well, someone had to bear witness, even if I wasn't there.
Last night my Bible opened at a certain page.
What did you say?
Psalm 91. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress. In him will I trust, etc.
What are you talking about?
It's the Bible.
Oh, you bastard. You were never going to come.
I am a scarecrow, alias HF, your representative, roaming about a diseased, torn London, and fascinated by everything, making notes as I go. Example: animals loosed in the street by dead or dying owners. A man is appointed to cut the throats of dogs and cats, since it is believed they spread the disease. Nice detail, that. Meanwhile, the plague thickened.
Clerkenwell.
Cripplegate.
Shoreditch.
Bishopsgate.
A woman bereft holds the dead body of her child, his small legs visible under a blanket. Neighbours try to take him from her, but she won't let go. Human interest, you see. I paint the picture. At last she collapses in the chill air, and only then can the small corpse be levered from her arms. The women mill around, dumb as cattle, twice as helpless, their breath pluming in the air. And it's then the woman releases her worst cry of all.
Aldgate.
Whitechapel.
Stepney.
As the spring turned to summer, it spread out somewhat, though keeping its utmost rage for the outer parishes, where the poor lived. Strange to observe that in the week from the 4th to the 11th of July, there died nearly 400 in the two parishes of St. Martin and St. Giles in the Fields, while...
In the parish of Aldgate, but 4. In the parish of Whitechapel, 3.
Anyone would think it was punishing the poor. It was the poetry of absolute collapse, told in numbers. Nice phrase, that. Keep it in. And what were the clergy saying about all this sudden death?
People ask me, does this plague serve God's purpose?
Your view?
I say to them, yes. It's God's way of punishing you.
How do they take that?
Quite well, on the whole.
Really?
Oh, yes.
And who are they, these victims?
The villainous, the debauched. You will face your just rewards, I go on to say.
I see. So that's what the plague is all about.
Do you mock me?
Oh, no. I wouldn't mock a minister of the Church of England. It's too easy.
You'll see.
Will I?
Tears and lamentations. You'll see.
Tears and lamentations. I could tell you something about those. My mother died when I was 6. I went to live with my uncle. Yes, him. The bastard. I will not speak of that. Nathaniel, my tea!
Bring out your tea!
Look at them coming. The dead dragging the dead. They don't even know they're dead yet. They'll soon find out.
Bring out your tea!
Did they actually say that?
Bring out your tea!
Perhaps they did. But where did the plague come from? How's that for a question? People reasoned if they could only have an explanation, it might not kill them so mercilessly. Wrong. And market forces soon applied.
Signs and wonders. I have almanacs for sale. Very cheap. Twin comets were seen over the city.
A phlegmatic hypochondriac of indeterminate sex stands on the corner of Butcher's Yard and Broad Street, clutching at little wrinkled books which she is hoping to sell.
Almanac, sir? Buy an almanac?
You look like someone who knows what she's talking about.
Oh, I do.
Then perhaps you could clarify something for me.
Anything to help, sir.
You say you saw signs before the plague occurred.
I did. For definite.
What were they exactly?
A blazing star, for one. And that, months ago now.
A blazing star?
That is correct.
Well.
Then, 2 comets passed over the city.
Oh, did they?
Yes. So near the houses, it was plain they carried a message that something was about to happen.
And indeed, something did happen.
Their light was heavy and dull. It meant there would follow a heavy judgment.
On the innocent or on the guilty?
On us all.
Well, that seems a little...
What, sir?
Indiscriminate.
There is a means by which we might protect ourselves.
Tell me, I'm all ears.
Lily's almanac.
Ah.
Or, if you prefer, Cadbury's astrological predictions. Equally good.
What would you say to those people who think you're a lanced boil spewing irreverent pus at a time of catastrophe?
I say London is doomed.
And I say you're a mercenary old bag who ought to be whipped.
Hell out of it!
Oh, bless you, Mother.
A spot of righteous indignation. Sets you up nicely, don't you think? Like a warm coat. But where there are corpses, there will be flies. And the poor must live. It's a nice touch. The reporter, in reflective mood, demonstrates an ability to see both sides of the question.
What? Elizabeth is at the door.
The debt collector's gone?
Yes.
Who?
Elizabeth.
I'm working. I haven't got any money. Tell her.
She has the child with her.
How did she find out where I am?
I didn't tell her.
I don't know what you're up to, Nathaniel.
I didn't tell her.
Well, send her away. I mean, she's your wife.
I know that.
Well, what?
I was remembering the days we all used to live together.
Oh, my God.
The three of us, so full of hope.
I will not join you in the warm vomit of your nostalgia.
The child has your eyes.
Yes, and I have work to do. Nathaniel?
Yes?
Where's my bloody tea? It's all fiction anyway when you come down to it. In times of pain, we lie. To ourselves, to each other. And why not? But will anybody buy this fake journal? Fall for it, lap it up, that's my question.
I heard voices saying, "Begone! A plague was coming, so harsh the living won't bury the dead."
I saw an angel hovering, in his hand a flaming sword.
There are hearses in the air, and bodies lying unburied among the clouds.
And so on and so on.
I see 'em.
I hear him.
My God.
Are you laughing at us?
Give him one in the mush.
Get out of it.
Something like that anyway. The sense of fear in people became ungovernable. Of course it did. I'll illustrate this. I'm walking along somewhere. Be specific. I'm making my way through a narrow passage that leads from Petty France to Bishopsgate Churchyard. I see this fellow crawling on all fours like some sort of lizard. His eyes aflame.
What are you up to?
There! There it is!
He's looking through the palisadoes into the burying place.
It's the ghost I see. Every day. Every day. Making signs he is.
What sort of signs?
Sort of waving his arms at the people, but they don't see him. And just as well, because he's telling them.
Telling them?
That they're going to end up there too, like him.
Ooh, there's nothing there.
You'll see!
Poor sod. People don't want that sort of thing. Go somewhere else. But there isn't anywhere else. It's the plague. It's everywhere. I pass a girl on Butcher's Row, her eyes cast down, hands on the wall behind her, dressed in rags, but with a child's skin, and eyes transparent as meltwater.
Miss? Miss?
What?
You're upset?
Yes.
Is there something I might do? There's surely something.
My mistress's family are leaving London.
How long have you worked for them?
3 years, sir.
They'll take you with them then.
Would they? No, sir. I shall be thrown out.
Can you go back to your family?
They'll all live in Lincolnshire. There's nothing for me on the streets.
There, sweet girl.
What do you want?
What do you want, sir?
Let me read your palm, child. It's a skill they say I have.
Tell her to sling a hook.
You might try shutting your mouth, sir.
Let her.
Oh, now then. There's a fair hand. The work line, you see, there in the palm.
Yes.
That is full of problems.
You see, I knew.
Oh, but wait. This is the one. This is the river we follow, for that is your future.
What is it?
Do you have a penny? It will help me see.
Don't give her your money.
Well?
There. It's all I have.
Money well spent, as you will see.
What does it say?
Your future is bright, girl. Bright and rosy. You will meet a good man.
And the pestilence
will pass you by. It's clear.
Why don't you tell her the truth?
I did.
Why don't you?
What is the truth?
And who wants it? It's hope people want. And if lies bring hope quicker than truth... In despair, people ran after quacks. There, posters everywhere. Infallible preventive pills against the plague. Sovereign cordials against the corruption of the air. Crap. But we can't live without hope, and we're prepared to pay a price for it. Like the eminent High Dutch physician newly come over from Holland, where he cured multitudes of people.
I have long studied the doctrine of antidotes. Do you want to see my certificates?
No.
My testimonials?
Some other time.
40 years practice.
You must be an expert in your field.
I never boast.
But?
The skills I have mean that I am in a position to direct persons on how to prevent their being touched by any contagious distemper whatsoever. And the poor I direct gratis.
That's strange.
Why?
Because the woman I heard who came to you...
And whom I saw for nothing.
Yes, but you charged her plenty for the medicine, which she objected to.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Didn't you kick her downstairs?
Was there something I can help you with?
No. But I like the way you work.
Your tea, Daniel.
I thought you'd gone to China.
China?
China. Tea. Doesn't matter. I was harsh with you.
I gave the child an apple.
You had an apple?
How's the book?
Oh, very good. Depressing. Human disaster. Should sell nicely.
She's only just gone.
I didn't seduce your wife. You know, I'd like to restate that.
I'm not accusing you.
No, good, because if you hadn't been so remiss in the physical department, she wouldn't have looked at me twice.
I was busy being your business associate.
Oh, spare me. Spare me.
Yes, and being your friend. It's a full-time job, you know.
Yes, well... Oh, this tea's a bloody disgrace. I miss Mary. She at least knows how to prepare tea properly. When did she say she'd be back?
I believe she said later this month.
Characteristically vague. My wife would rather confine herself with a pox-ridden friend than endure my company.
She knows how it takes you when you're working.
Just do me a favour, will you? Don't tell me the child's got my eyes, all right? Fear transforms us. What we were, we no longer are.
554. St Sepulchre's, 250. Clerkenwell, 103. Bishopsgate, 116. Shoreditch, 110.
And still the pestilence raged, and the quacks and the soothsayers and the mountebanks all died. Perhaps they took their own remedies.
Rue and wormwood taken in the hand.
A rabbit's foot worn at the neck.
Myrrh and celery in the mouth.
Shavings of wood sorrel.
Yes, all right, we get the idea.
Strong tobacco.
Thank you. And then they nailed up the houses of the sick, making coffins out of them even before the people had died. Here I give voices to the main participants.
I am an examiner, appointed by the Alderman of St Bride's in Holborn to find out which houses have infected people in them. If I find anybody sick with plague, I command the constable to shut the house up.
I am a watchman. My job is to stand guard outside a house that's been shut up. I work days until 10 at night. Another watchman does nights until the morning.
I am a searcher, appointed because I am of good reputation, sir.
I stop people coming in and out. Each house has a red cross painted on its door and the words, "Lord have mercy on us," painted on
I search dead bodies for signs of the disease. A doctor's told me what to look for. I've been fully trained.
I'll go on errands for people, for food or anything else they need. But I lock them in first and take the key with me.
Marks on the bodies, swellings under the arms and in the groin, and gangrene on the hands and feet. The work's not pleasant, but it pays well.
People are desperate. They offer me money to let them out. Some threaten violence.
Yes, I fear catching the pestilence. But my daughter has recently parted from her husband and we have need of income.
There have been watchmen murdered.
Have there really?
Yeah, a friend of mine was blown up in Shoreditch.
Go on.
He was guarding a house in Coleman Street where the whole family was shut up because a servant girl had the plague. Now, the master of the house told my friend to go and get a nurse to care for her, as he didn't want any in his household to go near her. When my friend was away, the master, using gunpowder, blew a hole from his shop into the shop next door, through which he conveyed his whole family and servants. So they escaped.
And the watchman?
Went to investigate, lit a candle, placed it on what he believed to be an empty barrel left by the man.
Boom.
Boom. I could tell you many stories like this. There was another occasion...
That's all right.
You sure?
Yes, quite sure. I can't shut them up once they start. The voices in my head, clamouring. A story to tell. We've all got stories. Draw back a bit. Facts anecdotally delivered through the mouths of suffering humanity carry a certain clout. No one's denying it. But what is a fact, exactly? Answer me that. And so, I present myself as a man struggling with the truth. I describe my difficulties with a frankness that surprises you. In short, I take you into my confidence. We become friends. And so, you give me permission to make at least some of it up. On your behalf. And what's lost in all this? Nothing. But the voices continue. I'm in the parish of Aldgate. I observe men digging a hole. A pit, rather. 40 feet in length, 16 broad, and 9 feet deep. A nice specificity. Now, what do you think that's going to be used for?
You're very busy, sir. Never busier. Back-breaking work. We've been ordered to bury him 6 feet deep. We finished this pit on the 4th of September. They started burying 6th of September. Now, get this. By the 20th September, they'd thrown in over 1,000 bodies. Work that one out.
You'll be digging again, will you, soon?
Well, I'd say there's a possibility.
I don't suppose you could come up with an eye-watering rumour for us, could you?
Well, they say living people mad with their infection jump into the pit and wait for death.
Really?
Well, I haven't seen it myself, of course.
Ah, the power of a good rumour, the hack's delight, which we condemn while at the same time printing it. What do you mean I'm a lying, hypocritical bastard? What do you expect? I'm a journalist. And you're talking about the place between fact and fiction, the hinterland I love. And you love it too. Admit it. Another rumour. There were those who disguised the fact they had the distemper and walked the streets. They must have infected others.
I was working at the Pied Bull Inn.
I'm talking to a barmaid.
Tell me.
When this gentleman comes in.
I've come from Lincolnshire.
Are you free of infection?
Oh, yes. Fit as a fiddle.
All right, then this way, sir. I took him up to his room with a candle.
It's only the garret, sir. It's all we have.
Oh, yes. I have rarely lain in such a lodging as this. Bring me a pint of warm ale. I'm tired.
Yes, sir. But being busy, forget to take him his ale. And didn't go back till the next morning.
Sir?
Oh, Lord have mercy. And saw him there. Dead he was, stretched out across the bed. He'd torn his clothes off and his eyes stared in the most terrible way. The alarm was great in the house because up to that time we'd been free of the distemper and now we saw it had entered and would likely affect us.
This was one way infection entered a house, but generally it was by means of servants who were obliged to go up and down the streets for necessities, where it was impossible for them to avoid contact with distempered people, and returning home, they brought more with them than their shopping, and soon the whole household is dead. Does this sound too glib? I hope not.
Hear ye! Hear ye! Let it be known that as from the 7th day of July, on account of the plague's ravishments, all plays and interludes will be banned, and together with them, and likewise, all gaming tables, public dancing rooms, and music houses, which have debauched the people, and likewise forbidden the Jack Puddings and Merry Andrews and puppet shows. All banned, all forbidden, and further notice.
Oh, you're very crafty, sir.
Oh, me, eh?
Yes, you.
Oh, me,
I know what you want.
Oh, do you? I don't think you do. Wouldn't touch that one with a barge pole. And I think you know how long my barge pole is.
All forbidden. Good thing, perhaps. Keep going. Nearly there. In the book, in the imagined world I am creating on your behalf, I, HF, seal up my house to keep the plague out. Seal up. What? I stock up on butter and cheddar cheese. We make our own bread and fill every cask we have with homemade beer. The idea, protect yourself. After 5 weeks, I can't bear it, preferring the horror without to the horror within. In butchers' shops, they hung the meat on the hooks, so customers didn't have to take it from the butcher's hand, though presumably a butcher's hand had put the meat there in the first place. Customers would pay the coins into a bowl filled with vinegar.
Oh, yes! Yes! God help me!
It is impossible to describe the variety of postures in which the passions of the poor people expressed themselves. But let's have a go, shall we? Passing through Tokenhouse Street in Lothbury, all of a sudden a casement above me opened and a woman's face appeared, screaming, raving. Nobody looked. No one now had sufficient curiosity or pity. They were exhausted with their own woes, presumably. The pain of the swelling was in particular very violent. The doctors attempted to burst the swellings by cutting. If this failed, they applied caustics to burn them open. Imagine. This treatment sent people into madness. They died raving mad with torment, or laid violent hands upon themselves, shot themselves, or hanged themselves, or leapt from windows. Mothers killed their own children. That's enough. How much of this can you stand? A balance is required. The bracing whiff of reality taken with the need to believe in a consoling universe. Never forgetting, of course, that this is a book about the plague.
I was called to a house in Houndsditch.
I'm in the sergeant's office.
I discovered there a man and his daughter in 2 different chambers.
I don't think this is going to turn out very well.
Both naked, both dead. The clothes they were wearing and their bedclothes had all been stolen. There have been a lot of crimes carried on, advantage taken, even murder. I once interviewed a nurse on a deathbed who confessed to all sorts of robberies she committed against her charges.
But do we believe him? These stories always carried two suspect elements. The first, that wherever the supposed robbery took place, it was always at some other end of town. Example, if you heard the story in Whitechapel, then invariably the crime was located in St Giles or Westminster or Holborn. Whereas if you heard about it in the city, then it took place in Southwark, and if you heard it in Southwark, you get the idea. Second, it was always the same detail. For example, the thieving nurse generally killed her patient by placing a wet cloth over his mouth. And with this healthy show of scepticism, I earn your trust. And how? Just by questioning my sources a little bit. And that way, you get the story along with the doubt, so you don't feel duped, while allowing yourselves to be duped. Ah, sweet and bitter. That's how we like our chocolate. In the meantime, back at the Plague...
I wash my hair in vinegar and keep my headscarf moist with it.
More remedies.
And if the smell of someone I talk to is offensive, I stick vinegar up my nose and hold a handkerchief soaked in...
Vinegar?
To my mouth.
Very good. And what about your husband? I mean, in his line of work.
Bring out your dead!
He smokes strong tobacco. Nasty habit, but we survive.
Mr. Hayward, may I walk with you?
Certainly.
I'll leave you boys to gossip, shall I?
Thank you. I expect you have a story or two.
Funny you should say that. There was a piper.
Yes?
Used to play round the alehouses, for which they give him food. Though, frankly, in these times, it wasn't entertainment anybody wanted.
No, I can imagine.
So he was often near starving.
Oh.
A penny, sir?
Get away. Kick his ass.
One night, he has a skinful at an inn in Coleman Street.
I know it. Cripple Gateway.
There you have it. And the fella, not having drunk so much in a while, feels the strength of it and lies down on the top of a wall.
He's asleep.
Yes. So, I'm doing my rounds, collecting bodies. Bring out your dead!
Do you really say that?
The family in an adjoining house hear my bell as I pass. They have a corpse to leave for me. But carrying him out, they see the piper, and they think he's dead too.
I can see how this is going to end.
So, they lay their relative next to him.
Yes?
Then I put both bodies on my cart. We get to the churchyard. I'm about to tip my melancholy load into the pit when the piper raises his head and asks...
Where am I?
Ask me how high I jump.
How high did you jump?
Bloody high. Who the hell are you?
I'm the piper.
What are you doing in my dead cart?
Yes, there was some confusion, I can see that.
Am I dead then?
Laugh.
You nearly died.
I believe I perform an essential service. In you go.
Essential. Who could argue with that? Perhaps he's the true hero of this book. I call it Travels with a Death Cart. A limited audience, perhaps, but you never know. The stinking river in flood, another character. Out at Greenwich Sound, there must be rich pickings for me. On a narrow walkway by the seawall, I see some poor fellow by himself. The stoop of his shoulders tells me all is not well.
It's very quiet, isn't it? Where is everybody? Those people are gone.
The houses over there.
Empty.
Why?
They're all visited by the distemper. That one at the end.
Yes?
That's my house, that's mine. My wife and last child are there, but I don't go there.
Why?
They're locked up, both ill. Yeah, you see the watchman.
How do they eat?
I'm a waterman. I work when I can. Buy food for them and row it across.
Here. Show me.
We crossed in a piddling little boat on the choppy river, taking my own life into my hands.
Watch my door, sir. You'll see I left food for them.
Robert!
I left everything on the stone. See, dear?
Of course.
How's my little child?
No worse, Robert.
I can't go near, sir. Can you imagine?
Where do you sleep?
I have a small barge.
Right.
It's quite a nice scene, that. Quite affecting. I'll give it a twist.
Have you left money for her?
Yeah, everything I earned last night. 4 shillings.
Here. 4 more.
Sir?
Take it. Just give it to her.
How can I thank you? Rachel! Rachel! God has moved the heart of a stranger. Here!
God bless you and keep you, sir.
Trim little piece, imagine. But sick as a dog. Dead soon. And the child. Having little choice, Londoners endured beyond endurance. Question. Why weren't there more pest houses? There was only one which at most could accommodate 300 people. Had there been more, and each able to hold 1,000 people, and had each master sent his sick servant there, only if he was willing, of course, as soon as symptoms began, they had all been preserved. Whereas when one or more was sickening in a family, that family was shut up with the sick, and all of them perished. How? If you don't care to hear details, look away now. Bad breath, effluvia, or the stench of sores. Somehow, a poison enters the blood. I'm not a doctor. The point is, someone well comes within a certain proximity of someone sick. Result? They go down with the plague. And the symptoms? You really want to hear this? Sweating, vomiting, dark patches on the skin, swellings in the armpits and the groin. And then they rave, mad with fever, mad with pain. Then they die. And it is manifest ignorance to say this comes from heaven. So it goes on.
8th of August to the 15th of August, 3,808.
As the summer bit the fatal arithmetic sword,
22nd of August, 4,237.
bringing out stranger things
22nd of
in people,
August to the 29th of August,
darker things.
6,102.
Shoreditch.
Bishopsgate.
Clerkenwell.
Cripplegate.
Nail up everything. And don't go out.
My doctor told me that, I think. Or did I imagine it? I can't be sure.
Nathaniel! Nathaniel! Bastard. What now? I'm closing the place up. Why? You know why. No. Well, tell me. The threat without. Oh, here we go. To what do you refer? The intruders. The intruders! This is the madness returned.
No, they're out there, I tell you. Don't pretend you haven't heard.
You mean the debt collectors? Gone!
No, I don't mean
gone! All right now?
Don't lie. You're lying to me.
Oh, I swear to God I've had it with this.
Are you working for them?
It's the book. The book disturbs you.
No.
Where's Mary?
In Suffolk. Remember? Visiting her friend.
Is she well?
Mary? Yes, perfectly well.
Good.
You need rest.
Rest? When I'm in danger?
You're working too hard, that's all it is.
You think so?
This has happened before.
No. Board up the house. They must be stopped.
All right. You're right.
I'll board up the house. Make sure no one can get in.
Thank you.
And now you'll rest.
What? I've got a book to write. Did I mention that?
But Daniel, it makes you ill.
What are you talking about? You want me to stop writing my book?
No.
You want to get your hands on it, is that it? Well, I'm sorry. I can't let that happen. You'll have to steal someone else's. Oh, what is that? Tell me.
What?
That hammering at the door. Your friends are back.
There's nothing there.
You can't hear? What? Are you deaf? Or merely duplicitous?
So it's in your head.
I wish your wife were here. She knows how to comfort a man.
Oh, go to hell.
Oh, sir. Surely such pleasures are a sin.
And there is my story, sir.
Tell it.
A friend asked to stay in my house. She had worked as a maid, but her family had left, and so she had nowhere. And I took her in. An act of charity. 2 weeks after I discovered she had the plague, she knew and hadn't told us. My husband and 2 sons both died. Why did she do this? Infect us deliberately? I've thought and I cannot understand.
Another story. But strange, this one. I mean, even given what a selfish catastrophe we human beings are. But not without interest, you'll grant me.
Yeah, I've known this. I've known several cases of this.
A doctor now.
The phenomenon of deliberately infecting others is a symptom of the plague itself, impressing its victims with a sense of rage and a hatred of their healthy neighbours. It's almost as if there's something malign in the very nature of man, which the disease finds out.
What about that? And who wants to die alone?
We should be merciful in our judgments.
I'm back in church now, moving so swiftly.
Extreme danger, extreme fear create desperation. Are we surprised?
Are we?
A sort of madness descends in which victims no longer care for their own safety. And in this state of abandonment, they no longer value the safety of others either.
Shoreditch.
And they wanted revenge.
Cripplegate.
We are a vengeful animal. That's what we are.
Clerkenwell.
Nathaniel?
Whitechapel.
Aldgate.
Stepney.
Nathaniel! Sulking, no doubt. He'll be back. The Mayor of London now, who surely will have something to say to us on the present crisis.
Thank you for giving time, your lordship.
Not at all. Always pleased to see members of the scribblers community.
You scribble a bit yourself, don't you?
No comment. How can I help you?
Well, these are serious times.
Aren't they? Baleful. Baleful.
What's the mayor's office doing about the plague?
Good direct question.
And the answer?
Yes. What?
Your answer.
Oh, we're doing a lot.
Like what?
Lots of things.
Such as?
Taking it very seriously. Example, here you are. I'll give you an example. I let the people come to me every morning in my office.
The people?
The poor, the sick. You know, they parade in here and they come unto me.
Unto you? Didn't you build a low gallery so as not to be too near them?
Well, I'm simply protecting my staff from contagion. The bottom line is this. I will never abandon the people of this great city. I'm staying put. Let others, and they shall remain nameless, flee.
You're referring to the royal family.
Well, I didn't say that, you did. I'm sure His Majesty has a very good reason, with all his entourage and very, very large family, to exit and move to Oxford. I make no comment. I stayed.
And you've begun to clear the streets at night.
Now, that was an initiative of my own, actually, because it's the reputation of London as a viable city, a city where people may come and do business and prosper, which it is my bounden duty to maintain.
Yes.
Do we want traders thinking that London's gone over to disorder? I think not. I want to sell London as a thriving capital, full of people who are going through a difficult patch, but who are showing their usual grit and determination. Would it help this endeavour if the streets were packed with the sick and dying flopping around? Again, I doubt it. So, my staff do a bit of tidying up.
Is it true that 100,000 people have died so far?
Oh, well, there's been a lot of scaremongering about these figures.
You think fewer?
I didn't say that, but it isn't yet clear, and until those final sets of figures emerge, I think it would be sensible...
What's your best guess?
I prefer to wait and see. What Londoners want is the good news. They need a bit of brightness in their lives, don't you think? Not all this doom and gloom.
Lambeth.
Cripplegate.
Shoreditch.
Are you back? I thought you'd gone.
Where would I go?
Thought you'd gone back to your wife.
Are you starting this again?
I'm not sure. Back to little Lizzie and the child. You'd like that.
She'd never have me. Not now.
You sure?
I'm not going back to her. It's you she wants.
Well, tell her that's a dead end.
You tell her.
Do you know how hard it is to write a book? You don't have any idea. It eats you up.
You should have made some money somewhere else then.
I tried, I tried.
Did you really?
In business, I was cheated. I was too trusting.
Oh, my God. You made some unlikely investments, that's for sure. The patent peanut sheller comes to mind.
You're enjoying yourself, aren't you?
Not to mention the anti-flatulence trouser chimney. I'll never understand how that didn't catch on.
Have you finished? If not, please...
I'm done. The light's going.
If you knew what it was like to be alone with this book.
I'll fetch you a candle.
Don't go.
I'll be back.
Don't leave me. You know I can't be alone in the dark.
You want a candle? Yes or no?
Have I upset you?
No.
Shame. You still here? I've got a book to write. I can't be chatting with the servants all day.
Aldgate, Stepney, Whitechapel, St Catherine's by the Tower, Minories, Shoreditch.
Sometimes walking these streets makes me wonder about myself. The inward journey or the outward. It's the same thing. I shiver and look behind me as if something might be following. What could it be?
Hey, boy, what are you doing out here?
Nothing.
Where's your mother?
She's dead, sir.
Your father?
Same.
Who looks after you?
My uncle.
Is he good to you, your uncle? Take care of yourself. Take care.
Soon there was no one. After so many funerals, no one to toll the bell, no one to do the burying, no one to weep, and no one to remember. Whole streets abandoned and quiet. I'm walking down Butcher's Row towards Harrow Alley. The church. In times of natural disaster, people turn to God, which strikes me as ironic. I look in. A lot of shifting around in the pews. Nobody wants to be too near their fellow worshipper, but apart from that, a normal enough congregation. And it's true, many priests and vicars ran away during the crisis, but others stayed and shared the despair of their parishioners. A bleak enough communion, but human. Human. Like me, seeking company.
Bishopsgate, Clerkenwell, Greenwich, Southwark, Wapping, St Catherine.
It's time to leave. It's time to leave. It's time to end this.
Southwark, Bishopsgate.
Eventually, the numbers begin to go down. The killing stops. And people return. They traipse back in, ghosts to a ghost town. Although some prematurely came back and got sick. But anyway, eventually, it drew back, having gorged enough. 265,000. Lest we remember. All those voices. Makes you tired just thinking about them.
Nathaniel! Nathaniel!
He slipped his chain. And what's this? I watch his small figure standing by the grave. The earth around him. The smell of the clay. The sealed coffin.
Your mother's dead, boy, and we are leaving.
Hold his hand, someone.
I told your mother I'd take you with me, but I cannot abide snivelling. Hear me? Say goodbye. Say goodbye.
We are our history. Is that it? Would you settle for that? Who were they? All the dead. I bring you back to life. Now take me with you. And the book? This journal of the plague year? It meant I wasn't alone. And these voices? They were company. My company. For a while.
In a Journal of the Plague Year by Daniel Defoe. Daniel Defoe was played by Ben Miles and Nathaniel by Adrian Scarborough. The people of the London Plague were Sean Baker, James Lely, Elizabeth Bennet, Claire Perkins, Kirsty Oswald, Brian Prothero, Nick Underwood, Tom Forrester, Adi Allen, Edward Prout, and David Hounslow. It was dramatised by Michael Butt, and the director was Emma Harding.